Okay, part 3, accessing the limbic system where the trauma lives. I want to add something more about PTSD here because it's very apropos to what we're going to learn next, the first aid stress tool. I use this in my practice on a daily basis with people who have PTSD, and it's very, very effective. So I'm actually using the advanced level, but this is an elementary basic level that is very, very powerful, and we'll talk more about that. So now I want to describe to you something. When soldiers come back from war and they try to function at home, they can't. They don't know how to deal with relationships anymore. They can't work because they can't be with other people. They totally isolate themselves. They're very withdrawn. They're angry, and they have a hair trigger that if the slightest thing will trigger them off, and they can lose their temper, and they can do some very dangerous things. Now, if something falls down and it makes a lot of sound like that, then the guy's down, crouched down like he's got a gun ready. If he has a gun, he might have it, and he might shoot somebody or himself. These people, they typically do not stay married because of that. And it's terrible how these soldiers suffer when they come back home. Now imagine how we are suffering now, not to the same level, but maybe more, because of what's going on with this coronavirus thing. Okay, so now we're going to learn a very simple yet powerful technique that I learned from Dr. Scott Walker, DC, the creator of NET, Neuro-Emotional Technique, and Dr. Deb Walker, DC, the co-founder of NET. They're both brilliant innovators, always coming up with new ideas and applications for NET. They have a One Foundation where they published in peer-reviewed journals 2 double-blind studies that were done last year at Jefferson Medical College, and they took people who had been given a cancer diagnosis 6 months earlier, and they had them write down the script of what the doctor said to them when they were told that they had cancer. And they did 5 sessions of NET on them, and they used 3 to 5 sessions. They used fMRIs, functional MRIs. That's a device that takes a picture of the brain as an MRI, but it also shows the areas that are very active at the time that you take that MRI. And what they showed is when each of those people had the script that they had read to them, the limbic system lit up, all the different parts of the limbic system. And then after the 3 to 5 sessions, they repeated these fMRIs, and the limbic system was totally quiet, all quiescent. You couldn't even see it unless you knew the structures. And these people felt much, much better about and calmer about that diagnosis when it was read to them. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to realize the power of this tool that you're going to learn now. It's called the First Aid Stress Tool, or FAST, F-A-S-T for short. You can download it at www.firstaidstresstool.com. I'll repeat that later. This is one of the most powerful tools I know because it connects directly with the limbic system, the emotional brain, where the trauma and the fear and the anxiety live. It is a short yet powerful version of the full-fledged NET, which I use in my practice every day, and many people that I know that are trained in NET use it also and have very good results, excellent results. It helps you deal with anxiety, fear, worry, panic, and all the other emotions that are coming up now during the coronavirus pandemic. And it'll get you out of being overwhelmed. It doesn't change the reality, but it will change how we perceive things. So I want you to, for a moment, think about this terrible pandemic with all the restrictions, the not knowing, the helplessness, the hopelessness, the exponentially rising deaths, and the bodies piling up and they have no place to bury them other than a park. It's terrible. And I want you to rate your level of distress from 0 to 10 now, where 0 is no stress, like we did before, and 10 is like the, oh my God level, I can't take it. And write that number down. Now here's what we're going to do. Here's the first aid stress tool. It's quite simple. There are points over here, right where the wrist crease, where the wrist bends. So you're going to put 3 fingers here, 1, 2, 3, one next to the other, on the side where the thumb is, right over the pulse. And it doesn't matter which hand you start with. I'm going to start with using my right hand as the holder and the left hand as the place we're going to use contact with the emotional points. And I'm going to do it by wrapping my hand around. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm going to wrap my hand around gently, and I'm going to put my hand on my forehead like this, and you're going to do the same thing with me now. Let's do that together. So wrap your hand around, put your 3 fingers, don't worry about the 4th one, close to the edge of the wrist, and you'll feel the pulse. Put your hand on your head, and I want you to close your eyes now. Go into relaxed position, leaning forward a little bit if it's okay, it doesn't hurt you. And I want you to focus on the feelings that you're having now that are so disrupting. And breathe. Breathe any way you like, but just keep breathing in and out until you feel either a deep sigh, or you feel a shift, or you can't access that feeling anymore. It just kind of fades away. You can picture it, or whatever you got to do with it. Feel the feelings. And take a little time. And keep breathing. Nice deep breaths, in and out through the mouth, or whichever way you like. This can take a minute, it can take 2 minutes. And some people will cry during this, or scream or yell, because it's contacting the emotion where it lives, but it's also clearing it. Okay? Then we're going to switch hands, and instead of going this way, we're going to go this way, and put the opposite hand around, and hold it the same way you did before with the 3 fingers on these points, on the 3 points. And it's hard to demonstrate it here, but starting with your 4th finger, ring finger, next to the wrist crease, and you'll put the other 2 fingers next to it. Okay? No, actually, I'm sorry, you're starting with the index finger again, because this is the way we're holding it. Okay? And now we're going to do the same thing again. And keep feeling those feelings again, or any other feelings that come up that are really disturbing about this pandemic, about your life, about anything, about money, stress, being alone, whatever it might be. Fear. And nice big breaths, in and out through the mouth. And once again, when you feel that shift, or a nice deep sigh, or you can't access those feelings anymore, then you can sit up. Good. How do you feel now? So rate that between 0 and 10, and write it down, and compare that to how you felt before we started both sides here. Good. This tool you can use anytime, as I said, for old deep-seated trauma that you're not able to access fully with this tool. You can reach me through my website at mdhealer.com. That's I'll write it down later, MD, like an MD, like a doctor, and HEALER, like a healer, because I'm both, .com. And by the way, this tool works very well with children, and they love doing it because it calms them down if they're having a tantrum or whatever else they're doing. Okay, so these tools that you just learned from the previous video and from this one can be used as you feel the need for it, anywhere from once or twice a day up to 10 or 20 times a day or more, without hurting yourself. The only side effects are that you'll feel better and be able to focus more on your life and on things you do want to focus on more calmly. The measured breath, with or without the abdominal baby breath, can be used as itself as a meditation, and you can also increase the count from 4 to 5 to 6, 7 or more as you practice it. I just want to remind you about that. And you can use it by itself, as I said. I can sometimes bring my count up to 10 or 12, and you'll see that it calms down the nervous system a lot, and it also lowers your blood pressure. Okay? And then we'll see you in the next video, where we'll talk about the spiritual aspects of this pandemic.